Have you ever wondered what dark secrets lie behind the symbols of the most feared units of the Third Reich, especially the Waffen SS? Skulls, keys, ancient runes. Nothing was random in the insignias of the Waffen SS. Every emblem spoke of power, death, and sacrifice. Today, we're going to uncover the true meaning behind these symbols, and I promise many of them will surprise you. But to understand everything, we need to go back to the very beginning. One of the most striking aspects of the Third Reich was its bold and mysterious use of symbols, imagery that continues to fascinate to this day. Without a doubt, the most iconic of them all is the swastika, a symbol that, we must remember, existed long before Hitler ever appeared. The German leader understood the psychological power of imagery in spreading his message. That's why another emblem became closely tied to his movement and the later Third Reich. The eagle, a direct reference to the Roman Empire and its legendary legions. Of course, Hitler didn't invent the swastika or the eagle. He adopted and adapted ancient symbols for his own purposes, reinventing the old for a modern audience. On the other hand, we have Heinrich Himmler, who became Reichsführer of the SS in 1929. Under his command, the SS evolved into a vast force with its own armored and infantry divisions. Himmler took the symbolic mythology even further than Hitler. He didn't see the SS merely as a Praetorian Guard, but as the embodiment of the ideal German people, their culture, and their ancient traditions. A core part of this ideal was the education in runes, a pre-Christian writing system that Himmler deliberately adopted for his elite combat units. It was a clear rejection of Christianity, which he viewed as having Eastern and Jewish roots. Himmler envisioned a revival of the Germanic pagan past, rooted in the dark forests of Northern Europe. His goal, to create an entirely new belief system. This thinking was heavily influenced by the Völkisch movement of the 19th century, which shaped much of the far-right political discourse in Germany well into the 20th century, especially during the interwar period. One key influence from this era was the Thule Society, an occultist group founded in Munich in 1911 that focused on the supposed origins of the Aryan race. This secret society grew to over 1,500 members and played a major role in supporting Hitler's early political rise after World War I. Among its prominent members were Dietrich Eckart, Hitler's mentor, as well as Rudolf Hess, Alfred Rosenberg, and Hans Frank. The society was officially dissolved in 1935 under anti-Masonic legislation. As for the runes themselves, they were ancient symbols used by Scandinavian and Germanic peoples during the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages, for both daily writing and magical purposes. Himmler required every SS member to be familiar with several runes and their symbolic meaning within the organization. As a result, runes were widely used as divisional emblems by Waffen SS units and other Nazi institutions, often seen on military vehicles, flags, and uniforms. The runes Himmler incorporated into the SS came from a mystic figure of the Völkisch movement, Guido von List, who created his own version, the so-called Armanen runes, loosely based on historic runic alphabets and infused with nationalist symbolism. Beyond the runes, the SS also adopted other Germanic symbols, the most famous of which was the swastika, also known as the Hakenkreuz or hooked cross. As mentioned earlier, the swastika appears in many ancient cultures, but in Germanic paganism, it was associated with Thor, the god of thunder. In the 19th century, the swastika became linked to nationalism and racial struggle, and Hitler transformed it into the symbol of his political party. Soon after, it appeared on uniforms of both the Wehrmacht and the Waffen SS, on caps, armbands, and belt buckles. Another important symbol was the sun wheel, originating from Nordic culture, where it represented the sun as the giver of life. In the early 20th century, it was used by the Thule Society, and during World War II, it became the emblem of several SS divisions, particularly those made up of Scandinavian volunteers, such as the Viking and Nordland divisions. We all recognize the SS lightning bolts, but in reality, each bolt is an ancient rune called Sig, or the Rune of Victory. In 1933, an SS officer named Walter Heck designed the SS symbol by combining two Sig runes. The result was a clever wordplay. Not only did it resemble the letters SS, it also conveyed the meaning victory, victory. Another important rune was Gebo, which symbolized community spirit within the SS organization. There was also the wolf's hook, a pagan symbol believed to ward off werewolves. Inspired by medieval traps, it later became a heraldic sign in Germany and eastern France. During the peasant revolts of the 15th century, it was adopted by German farmers as a symbol of freedom. Himmler embraced this symbol, and during the war it was used as the emblem of the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Das Reich. The Odal rune, on the other hand, represented self-sacrifice within the SS. After World War I, it was used by the veteran group Stahlhelm and later adopted by the SA as well. The Awaz rune symbolized zeal and enthusiasm within Hitler's movement. The Tiwaz rune, also called the Rune of Death, was adapted by Guido von List and associated with the yew tree, a symbol of death. SS graves did not bear Christian crosses, but instead this rune, which was also linked to Tyr, the Norse god of war. That's why it became known as the combat rune. It was notably used by the 32nd SS Volunteer Grenadier Division the 30th of January. Good fortune was represented by the Hagel rune, a symbol of prosperity. It appeared on the Totenkopf, Death's Head ring, a distinctive piece of jewelry given personally by Himmler to SS officers. The ring was considered sacred within the organization. Interestingly, today it is one of the most coveted items among collectors. One of the last runes to be adopted was the Othala rune, symbolizing family, blood, and unity. It was used by two units, the 7th SS Mountain Division, Prinz Eugen, and the 23rd SS Panzergrenadier Division, Nederland. Now that we've explored the meanings of some of the runes used by the Waffen SS, let's take a look at other unique symbols adopted by the more famous divisions. First up, the Leibstandarte Division. The symbol often associated with this unit is the key. However, this was not its official emblem. Its real insignia was simply the double Sig rune, the SS symbol we mentioned earlier. The key was used occasionally in specific tactical contexts, especially on command maps, signage, or vehicle markings during campaigns in places like Italy or Normandy. But what did the key symbolize? The key represented access or control over vital strategic locations, the gateway to the Reich, the door to Europe, or even the custody of Hitler's power. Fascinating, isn't it? Another example is the 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division, known as Götz von Berlichingen. Its symbol was a metal arm, inspired by the historical figure Götz von Berlichingen, a 16th century knight who lost a hand in battle and replaced it with an articulated iron prosthetic. The symbol stood for determination, endurance, and bravery, and also evoked the idea of a warrior Germanic race that remained invincible even when wounded. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Did you know these curious facts about the symbols of the Waffen SS? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next Sunday.